Welcome. Today we will be covering a Bank of America stock forecast. Please be sure to stick around until the end of the video because we will also be issuing some BAC stock price targets. We'll cover specifically what to look at in the technicals so that we can figure out when we should buy and when we should sell BAC in the future. Everything shown in this video and any other video that is produced on this channel is for educational purposes only and should never constitute as advice. So really quick, we can look at the fundamentals of Bank of America Corporation, and that's not really what this video is going to be about. If you want to take a look at the price per earnings or the price to book ratio, a quick Google search will give you the results that you're looking for. I wanted to throw this up here just to show that today is April 4th, 2019, and the last price on Bank of America was $29.15. Again, any of this information can be found through a simple Google search. You can find a lot of fundamental analysis. What I want to target here is a BAC stock prediction, laying out BAC stock price targets, using technical analysis to figure out when would be a good time to purchase Bank of America or to sell Bank of America. So to do this analysis, we want to start on the monthly chart. We always want to start at the macro level and work our way down. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an arrow or a line connecting the recent highs on the monthly chart. I'll then create a parallel line at the exact angle of the first line, and I'll draw this connecting the lows. What this does is it effectively creates a channel. I'll then split the difference between these two lines with what is known as a median line in technical analysis. So what we can see here now is a channel that delineates the highs of Bank of America as well as the recent lows of Bank of America going back for about 10 years. Currently at a price of $29.15, we can see that we have recently declined here, and we've come down and tested the median line on our chart. Let's see what else we can derive from looking at the charts. We'll next go to a weekly chart and take a closer look at the price action. What I have here is a weekly chart of BAC. I apologize, this is actually still the monthly chart. But what I have done here is drawn Fibonacci price retracement lines, and I've included a stochastic indicator. The stochastic indicator is a range-bound indicator and can let us know if recent price movement has been considered overbought or oversold based on price movement and range of BAC. If you take a look at the Fibonacci price retracement lines, you can see that we've retraced to an area of 23.6. We had a brief bounce, and now we've come down to a level of 38.2. Historically, this can actually serve as pretty solid support for BAC stock price movement. But what I want to take a closer look at here is the fact that the stochastic here, this is a stochastic slope, is at an area of being oversold. In other words, this is relatively low. So when we look at this low on the stochastic relative to previous low, you can see that this is a higher low than this previous low. Previously, when the stochastic was here, we rose to highs, which we can see here. The price came down, found a support area at 38.2, and again our stochastic was oversold. So we're in a position to rise going into the future. However, this is a monthly chart, and bear in mind that every single candle represents 1 month of price movement. Alright, so this chart does not paint very quickly. It takes time for these moves to manifest. So from this low here in about the second quarter of 2016 all the way to the high that's found here, it took about till the first quarter of 2018. So we're looking at a move here that took about 2 years to fully take place. So if we're back here in 2019 and we're at an oversold position, and we're thinking that we may be in a position to rise going into the future, the next move could last anywhere from 12 to 18 to 24 months. All right, so this gives us a long-term projection of where we may be on Bank of America currently. I'll go back to the previous slide, and again we can see this move here. This is the area that came down to 38. We have the stochastics that are oversold, and so we're thinking that possibly we can rise from this median line and maybe rise and test the higher levels of this channel. I want to take a second just to ask you to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be creating content like this regularly. Also, leave a comment letting us know what we're doing well, what we could improve on, and what types of videos you would like to see. Please hit the subscribe button now. Okay, so coming over to the weekly chart, we're taking a closer look at that price action that we were looking at on the monthly chart of BAC. Right, and this actually paints a very clear picture, because although the price looks like it could rise for months to come, if we come down to smaller charts, this will give us an indication as to what we can expect in the near term. So the first thing I want to do is I want to draw a support area here. This is an area that has been tested as support multiple times, and in the future this will probably serve as support as well as the price comes down. The next thing that I want to show is that we have a series of lower highs that have begun to draw themselves on the chart. So if I draw a trend line connecting these highs, you can clearly see that we're putting in a series of lower highs. These are marked by these yellow lines here. So if we take a look at this high in our stochastic slope, then we draw the next high on our stochastic slope, we can see that the next high in our stochastic slope correlated with a lower high in the Bank of America stock price. And then here we are in April of 2019 putting in yet again another lower high. Recently the price has moved up in the last couple of weeks, but the overall trend on the weekly chart is to the downside. The other thing that I want to point out is that the stochastic currently is in an overbought position. What that means is that the price is high relative to recent price action. So the next move that we would see, or we would expect to see based on our stochastic, is a move lower. So yes, we previously talked about a long-term move higher on the monthly chart, but now that we take a look at the weekly chart and we get in a little bit more granular detail, we can see that the next likely move on a smaller time frame is actually to the downside. Moving over to the daily chart, we see yet a little bit different story. Again, here our stochastic has been oversold. It's on the lower side. All right, but another thing that I want to point out, and this is just taking a closer look at the actual downtrend that we saw on the weekly previously, we can draw that same downtrend line connecting the tops here on the daily chart. But what I want to point out specifically is that if we look at the highs and lows of our stochastic indicator, we can see that previously we placed in a low on our stochastic at a low price area here. We were able to oscillate, come up here. The price digested itself and has stayed around at the oversold areas here. And we placed in a new low which happened to be higher than the previous low. So the next likely move to have this stochastic go to an overbought position here would be to the upside just so slightly. So at a price of $29.15 today, the next move should draw the price a little bit higher to this resistance of this declining trend line. So that's what we would expect to see mostly in the near term. So the smaller the time frame, the near term the movement, and the larger the time frame, the more out in time we would expect the move to occur. So in summary, we have 3 targeting steps for Bank of America, and this will form our Bank of America stock prediction. The daily is indicating that there's a shorter term rise in the price to around the area of $30. So our first target will be at the $30 area. We'll watch for the price to move to the $30 area on the daily chart first. This may be followed by a move lower on the weekly stochastic, ultimately taking us to a buy target of around $23.50. So our second target is $23. We'll wait on the price to fall to $23.30 to $23.50 on a weekly chart before buying Bank of America. We would then expect to hold this position for 12 to 18 to 24 months. This position should rise to a level of approximately $35 as the price approaches the top of the monthly channel. The third target is $35. It's a long-term hold until the price hits the top of the monthly channel, which would be the top of the channel at approximately $35. So our first target, $30, in which we would expect to see the price lower to an area of $23.30 to $23.50. If we hit these areas of $23.30 to $23.50, this will correlate with recent support. We would also expect to see our stochastic indicator low on an oversold position, giving us a buy opportunity for a long-term hold at approximately $23, and we would expect an appreciation to around $35 touching the top of the channel. If you enjoyed this content and you thought it was helpful, then please consider subscribing now. Also, leave us a comment and let us know what type of videos you would like to see next.